Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. We are winding down at the end of the year. It's the last month of the year, you all. So I hope you all are doing well here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you are new to Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. If you tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live, welcome back. And thanks so much for joining here. If you're watching the replay later on my YouTube page, welcome, welcome. Be sure to subscribe. And thanks for those who are starting to join here from San Antonio. Welcome. I reside in Florida, but today I'm in Illinois, which thankfully is way warmer than where I was last week, which was Minnesota, which got down into the single digits, which is really hard being a Floridian and those really, really cold climates for me. So it's a little bit warmer here, 30s and 40s. But welcome, welcome. Thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For some of you who tune in every single week, you know every first Tuesday of the month is specifically devoted to children's mental health. Again, and good evening, thanks for joining. Whether you have your own kids, grandkids, you're an aunt, an uncle, you know of a child of your friends or whatnot, this is definitely this message is definitely for them. First Tuesday of the month here. And someone said I'm new from Los Angeles. Welcome, welcome. Someone's here from Quebec. Welcome. Uh, so so Charlotte, North Carolina is in the house. I'm from Florida. I'm in Illinois as well. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And someone said, so good to be here. And it's great to have you all. So again, today, first Tuesday of the month, is specifically devoted to children's mental health. Some of you may or may not be aware of how tragic it was, especially for kids after COVID. There are some studies that were showing that over 10 million children globally lost a parent or a primary caregiver. So whether they were being taken care of by their grandmother, grandfather, aunt, uncle, or whomever it was, but the person who was taking care of them, that there was that much loss, and I mean over 10 million children globally having that much loss of that person who's supposed to be really, really important in your life, right? And the person who is taking care of you in your home is a lot of grief, you all. It's a lot of grief. There's a lot of trauma for our youth, on top of even the kids that did not lose someone, but had to deal with the COVID hospitalizations, had to deal with the fear of the loss, had to deal with all the disruptions in school, graduations, birthday parties, not seeing friends. It really, it really still continues to take a toll for the youth community. And hi, thank you for those who are still starting to join here from Georgia. Welcome, welcome. So today I'm going to share a couple of things with you when you think about, again, whether you work with youth or whomever you have in your life, or maybe you need to share this broadcast with someone else who has a child or a teenager, to really help them through this time, because it's been a lot. So last week I actually started reading. Some of you may have read it, and I have highly recommend it. I'm about a third of the way through it, but I started reading Michelle Obama's new book, The Light We Carry. Great book so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'll talk more about it actually on another mental health moment, but I just definitely want to stick with the kids, resources for the kids today. But one of the things that struck me from her book that she started to talk about, obviously, many of you know Michelle Obama and her role as First Lady, and just being everywhere in different communities, different cultures, different countries. And she had a quote in here where she said that she was talking about kids, and how I knew all too well that for many children in the world, no one had or would ever light up for them. Right. So she's sharing the story about her experience. And I want to share that with you today because, as much as a psychologist, let me tell you, I can run through some statistics. I can run through all the data, all the research, all that good stuff, which is important. Of course, science, very important. However, the bottom line is right now, just as she mentioned in the book, there's so many kids and teenagers who are hurting right now. There's so much of our youth who have been through so much over these last couple years. And I promise you, the simplest things that you can do for them to help them in their lives go a long way. It really just does. So there are some kids that will never ever receive therapy. Do I believe in therapy? Absolutely. I'm in the mental health field, right? Is therapy for every single person? No, but there's a huge benefit of therapy. However, there are some kids, many kids, that will never see therapy because of the cost, because of insurance, because of the stigma of mental health, because of discrimination, prejudice. I mean, the list goes on and on. That is the reality of our mental health system. However, what you can do, or again, if you're sharing this with someone listening to this, is really to think about how can we support our youth. And again, there's a lot of things we can do that cost no money. Okay, like the kindness that you share, the compliments that you share, the support in whatever way you can give to that caregiver. If you maybe this, maybe you have grandkids, you're like, I got older older kids that live away from me, right? And so you may not be raising a child in your own home, but I'm certain that someone around you that may have kids or work with kids, right? So for those individuals, how can you support them? Checking in with people is such a simple task, but it really does go a long way. So I wanted to share that with you today, because it struck me when she was talking about this story in her book, and how she was at anyways, a function one day, and basically one of the kids had asked her, can I get a hug? And then it was like another kid, can I get a hug? And that sort of thing. She was doing a Q&A with some kids, and how meaningful it was, because this room full of kids just start to come up and give her a hug. And it also reminded me, it was funny, she was sharing that story in the book, and I don't want to give away the whole book, of course, no spoiler alerts. But that was just one of the stories she shared. And hi, actually, thanks for those who are still starting to join here, from Virginia, from Maryland. Welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today, we are talking specifically about children's mental health, which is the first Tuesday of every single month on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, or LinkedIn Live. Or again, if you're watching the replay on my YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Every week we are here. And the first Tuesday of the month is children's mental health. But I was sharing that what was so fascinating about thinking of youth, and thinking about mental health, was it reminded me of an experience I had in 2011, I believe. So it was a while back. But it was the first time I went to the Dominican Republic, and I went with a church group. It was a multiple church group, and we were building at the time the only building that served as the school, hurricane shelter, and church in a small area of the Dominican Republic. And I'll never forget, because first of all, the children who, according to some of our standards, may not have had a lot of material possessions, were so excited by our group being in their small area and helping to literally build, right, the only building that would serve as this school for them, and their church, and a hurricane shelter. And I just remember how grateful they were. Like, there was one day we would bring in like little, candy, or, things like that for the kids, because they would come out and try to help us in our efforts. We were like painting, our crew was painting. So they would come out and help us. And I had gloves one day, and the kids were elated to take, some of these gloves. They're blowing them up, they're making balloons. Like, they were just so happy and so elated by these gloves, right? And like, I mean, elated to the point where, like, kids, I feel like in America, if they had like a PS5, they would be like elated. That's how excited these kids were. And we're talking about gloves. And I'll never forget the very last day we were there. And hi, thanks for those who are still starting to join here. The very last day we were there, um, we had, I don't know, like 50 kids or something, like, came out because they wanted to thank our group for what we had done in the community. And one of the priests that were there, he said, okay, they want to thank your group, and how they want to thank, because they're all kids, like elementary age kids, and how they wanted to thank us was by giving us hugs. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional telling this story. I think, it just reminded me when Michelle Obama was sharing her experience of all these kids wanting to give her a hug, that the 50 children that took turns giving us all hugs in that room was so mutually beneficial for us. Like, we as a team, we were like in tears. Like, we were just so excited because it was so meaning. Like, they just wanted to thank us so much. Like, they were like flooding us, right, with hugs. And it seems so simple, you all. And I'm not saying you need 50 kids, to hug, but like it's a small gesture, but that, like, they were so excited to express the gratitude to us through their hugs. And we were overwhelmed, as I still am overwhelmed with emotions to receive that type of love and thank yous. You know what I mean? It didn't have to be something physical. And more than likely, these are memories that these kids are going to have for a very long time. Like, hey, some group, probably don't remember our names, but some group came into our communities. They cared enough about us. They're building this school for us to have a building, to have a school, and they embraced us. Like, they're able to give us hug. Like I said, we would bring little trinkets and things like that each day that we were there. But I'm sharing this story with you because, again, it's a simple thing sometimes, you all. So I'm not saying to go out and hug any strange kids off the street here. I'm not saying to do that. But I am saying, the kids in your life, if I mean, it's the hugs sometimes, it's the heart to heart talks, it's the positive compliments. I promise you, these kids are bombarded with negative messages. I can tell you, as a psychologist, I've talked to many, many, many kids, hundreds and hundreds of kids over the years, one-on-one, and the things they share is quite scary, actually. The things that people tell them, the things that their peers are telling them, it's so negative. Have you all been on social media? Have you seen how negative it can be? So imagine being an elementary, middle, high schooler, and like you're bombarded with those types of messages, right? So, again, I'm sharing this with you all today because I really want you all to remember it's really the simple things sometimes that go a long way for our youth. So I encourage you to be reaching out for them. Good evening to you as well. Dallas, Texas is in the house. St. Louis, Missouri, New Jersey, North Carolina, San Francisco. Welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment if you're just tuning in. And I also wanted to read you one other thing because I really loved, I shared it in Instagram today. But I wanted to share this because I thought this was very applicable. For our children's mental health segment today. And again, I shared it. It's in my Instagram story, but it's a gentleman by the name of Greg Braden. So I'm just sharing. It said, "This hit me that you never really know the true impact you have on those around you. You never know how much someone needed that smile you gave them. You never know how much your kindness turned someone's entire life around." Okay, I'm just getting emotional still thinking about those kids in DR. But anyhow, you never know how much someone needed that long hug or deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind because you never know how much someone needs it. So I wanted to share that with you all today because it's so hard to summarize. I wish sometimes, those superhero movies, if you guys are into superhero movies, I know I am, but those superhero movies where like you can give someone your memories and like you can transfer, I mean, obviously this is the movies here, but you can transfer like your experiences to someone else so they can just see all that. I wish sometimes I could just bottle up all these conversations over almost 20 years here with kids for you all to see like how meaningful the small things are. It's just, it's hard for me to even express, but I'm sharing that with you today because it's so important, especially even going through the holidays. A lot of kids right now are dealing with so much loss. And I'm thinking about a colleague actually that I just found out about, unfortunately, who passed away this year. I just found out recently from cancer, and who has a teenage daughter. This is going to be her first Christmas without her mom. Like, it's really so hard right now for a lot of these youth. So I just encourage you again to be reaching out to know that the little things matter, to know that your compliments matter, to know that your smiles matter, to know that checking in with families matter, to know that there's so much loss right now, there's so much grief, there's so much trauma that has happened. But I really encourage you to to think about how can we help. And again, knowing that the little things matter. And if you want like specific things, you can reach out to me at any time on any social media platform I have. I mean, I can list 300 things, right, that you can do to help kids in the community. But most importantly, I just want you to remember that the small things really matter so much too. Someone said it truly is for there's a kid at church that hugs me every time he sees me. Oh my goodness. I told his mom he's okay. And it makes my day as well. And that's so beautiful because again, it means so much more than we know sometimes. I think it's so interesting. A lot of the research I've been seeing lately, I'm really welcome to Mental Health Moment. For those of you who are new, we talk a lot on Mental Health Moment also about random acts of kindness, which is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I know as a psychologist how much people are hurting, don't show it, you don't see it on social media, and they need that. And the research definitely shows that. But again, I'm really starting to see lately in the research how the effects are so much stronger than we know. Meaning, for that person that just mentioned about giving this kid a hug, like for you, you're like, oh yeah, I give him a hug back. But like for that kid, like this is something that this child may remember for the rest of their life. We don't know people's life circumstances, you all. You don't know what people are going through. Like you don't know what these kids and these teenagers are really going through. So when we extend whatever it is, our random acts of kindness, our support and whatnot, we literally could be doing something that not only changes their life, but that they're going to remember for the rest of their life, right? You all know, even as adults, that there are things you remember, there are kind things you remember. I know I remember, right? From our childhood. Like we're grown adults now, but there's things that people have said to us, positive things, negative too, but positive things people have said to us, positive things people have done for us, and you remember those things. Like they're very impactful. I remember as a teenager that I mean it's simple things, but one of my mom's friends, she had gotten me this little gift basket. It was like a just because, and it had like, I don't even remember the name of the magazine, some like teen, like cutie magazine, which was popular back then, and like probably like Bath and Body Works stuff, and like just little, goodies, arts and craft, like it was something very simple, right? It didn't cost a lot of money, but it was so meaningful. Like I still remember that now. It was so meaningful to me because I'm like, oh, why would you do that? And she was like, oh, just because I just want to show you how much I care. And I'm like, it's amazing, right? And so again, those types of things start to really become not only just childhood memories, but things that these kids are going to remember into their adult years. Like that is powerful, you all. That is powerful. And hi from Mississippi. Welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So I wanted to share these share these things with you today. Again, first Tuesday of every month, we talk specifically about children's mental health, and I wanted to, definitely just have it be a reminder today of how powerful the small acts are. Whether it be acts of kindness, whether it be acts of support, whether it be a compliment, whether it be a hug, whether it be a smile, like these things are very, very needed for our youth right now. Additionally, too, yes, is mental health therapy needed, interventions needed? Absolutely. But for the kids, especially that will never receive that because of the stigma of mental health, because of a lot of different factors, these smaller things that we can do as a community can at least be helpful to them as well. Someone said, mental health really matters. I try so hard in my community to spread the awareness of mental illness and depression and anxiety. It's real, and especially in the Black community where it's not spoken about. Yep. I turn my pain into purpose. I'm a mother of a loss to suicide. So first, thank you for sharing that. Definitely sorry for your loss. You are completely accurate that there's not a lot of discussion, unfortunately, especially in Black and Brown communities, about mental health, which is why there's a stigma, which is why there's this idea that, depression, anxiety, those sorts of things aren't real, especially also for kids. There's still this notion, which blows my mind because I know my experiences for over 2 decades and how many kids and teens I've seen. But there's still this notion right now that kids don't have mental health issues. It's like, what do they have to be stressed out about? And I want to be like, a lot of things. Where do I start? A lot of things actually. So you're absolutely right. But you know what I would say to that, and my hope is that we can all teach each other what we know. We all know something. We may not know everything. That's okay. I don't know everything. Right. But what we do know, we can share with others, because that's the way we help with the stigma of mental health. So what you do learn that can help a child, share it with someone else. Um, uh, you know, if it's your own personal experience with loss or grief or, mental health concerns, if you feel comfortable with that and you share it with someone else, that can be something that frees someone else and helps them on their mental health journey, right? Or a family member or child or teen. So I definitely encourage that for us as a community. I definitely think that's the way for us to heal as a community. And I hope, first of all, again, thank you for sharing that. And I hope that you have the support that you need to really get through. Someone said, oh, someone said, the simple things are very special to me. I have a stuffed animal my niece gave me, and it's over 27 years old. And that is exactly true. It really, it really just is the simple things sometimes. How can you, and I want you to think about this as I wrap up here. How can you gift? We talked about this last week. What gift are you going to give yourself in 2023 as an adult? But even for kids, like what gift can you give them? Something that could be memorable, I mean, for the rest of their life. And again, it doesn't even have to cost money. Like it really just doesn't. But if we start to think of that mentality, like how can I truly support in a way that this kid or teenager could have this gift, whether even if you're teaching a kid or teenager about self-care and all the things we talk about mental health moment, about self-care, about taking care of who they are, telling a child that they are enough in a world that constantly tells them they're not, right? Those little things, like that's hugely impactful, right? So think about, how can you support in the way that you're able to, maybe it's financially. There's a lot of um organizations that need financial support, right, for kids and youth. If you need any suggestions, feel free to DM me. I have plenty. But again, it doesn't have to be financial, and a lot of times it's not. It's a matter of us as a community, though, rallying around our youth to make sure that they're okay. Um, and yeah, someone said sorry for the loss. Yes. So if you all need me at any time, you can always reach me at drnikishahammond.com. You can connect with me on any social media platform. If you have a question, if you need a mental health resource, I'll do my best to connect you with the appropriate individual in your area. The next couple of weeks, we'll be back to Mental Health Moment Adult Edition, right? Where we talk about things, as a community that we can do to become the best version of who we are. Someone said, I try and open up tables in my church and hand out pamphlets to members of the church. I'm going to get teddy bears together for the kids to have when they feel lonely, in honor of my daughter, to let them know they are not alone. I love that. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And, oh man, thank you for doing that. Man, in a time of loss and grief that strong, for you to be reaching back out and helping others is just really amazing and commendable. So thank you for doing that. Someone said, my godson just had his 14th birthday, and he told me he wanted something that his two brothers and sisters could share and play with. He said, if not a gift, just my presence at Christmas. Wow. I love that. I love that so much. And God, a lot of times but don't let those teenagers fool you. I promise you. Don't get me wrong. They want their, the tablets and the PS5 and all the electronics and this and that, like with the cell phone, la, 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 all that stuff, right? All the material stuff. They say that, and they do want that too. But they also really, really care about the small things too. And the heart-to-heart talks. And like you said, being present at Christmas, or, being present with them in some way and spending time with them. Like they really value that as well. So thank you for sharing that. But again, if you need me, drnikishahammond.com, or reach out to me on social media. more than happy to get you whatever resources you need. If you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. So have an amazing week, you all. I will see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Please reach out to any youth that you have around you, especially the ones that you don't think need to be reached out to, the strong kids. I guarantee you, they definitely need you to reach out to them as well. So be blessed. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, y'all.